Gentleman yields back. Now recognize the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Menendez, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Donovan, I just want to thank you for being here. I went to school in North Carolina and spent some time in Wilmington, so I appreciate the place that has been your home and that you fight so hard to protect. And as the father of a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, I appreciate very much what you're doing to protect not just yourself and the families that you care about, but entire communities. Which brings us to the conversation we're having here today. Nearly all Americans have detectable levels of PFAS in their blood. Even babies are subjected to PFAS exposure in utero. A new study found that PFAS exposure in the womb or in infancy significantly increases the risk of preterm birth and triples the infant mortality rate. PFAS is found in at least 172 million Americans' drinking water, posing serious risks to public health. Does anyone on the panel think that the work in limiting PFAS contamination and exposure in this country is done, is complete? Yes or no?
Oh, I'm going to jump on that one. No, not even close. The fact that we only, as grateful as I was to the Biden administration for adopting PFAS drinking water standards, it was only for 6. And now we're seeing 4 of them being threatened, the ones that are commercially relevant. So no, the baseline was to stop our drinking water exposures, but after our drinking water for exposures, for the majority of Americans, it's food contamination. And we're not even talking about food contamination right now. We're talking about who shouldn't pay for the problem, instead of addressing the total exposure pathway that we're all experiencing. It's more than just food, it's air. Our beaches are coated in an atrocious amount of PFAS in sea foam, highest ever recorded in literature to date.
Don't worry, I'm coming back to you, Ms. Donovan. But does anyone else, just going to go down, yes or no, do you think the work is done? Yes or no? It's a simple yes or no. Do you think the work is done on PFAS contamination and Americans' exposure to it throughout our country? Yes or no?
No, but the
Okay,
statutes
no, sir.
have standards.
Sir, yes or no?
We think there's a lot to be done.
So we're not done yet.
I think we're here because it's not done.
Yeah, that's correct. And so I agree. And listen, it's about sequencing, right? If I felt that we were farther along on limiting the damage that PFAS causes to our communities, then I can see how we talk about liability at some point, right? I just don't think we're there yet. We should be having a discussion today, every day, about PFAS as a public health concern. The other challenging thing is that tomorrow we were supposed to be in session. We're being sent home. We were in a government shutdown, the longest government shutdown, where we weren't brought back to Washington to have hearings like this. So we've lost legislative days, and every day that we're here is critically important. We should be focused on the issues that impact our communities the most, which brings me back to you, Ms. Donovan. It's been almost 8 years since you last testified before this committee. Do you believe that the topic of this hearing, CERCLA exemptions, will help clean up PFAS in your community and in New Jersey?
No, I don't. And I also don't think that it is, it's really going after the polluter pays in any sort of way. I mean, we're stuck in massive lawsuits to get our polluters to pay. And what we've been begging for the last 8 years is legislation that makes it so lock-tight for us to be able to get the polluters to pay. We want every tool, every resource available. But instead, we're sitting here talking about how we can shield people from it instead of creating a lock-tight accountability chain where everybody's at the table realizing we're all on the line, because my family's already on the line for this right now.
Upstream, downstream, correct? Everyone looking at an entire continuum and making sure that we're protecting the people at the end of it who are the American citizens that we are tasked with protecting. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Ms. Donovan, it's my understanding that the party responsible for PFAS contamination in your community is very clear, just like responsible parties in New Jersey's proposed PFAS settlements are very clear. So in this case and in many others, the manufacturers of PFAS who dumped into communities like yours will be held financially responsible for the cleanup. Is that your understanding?
It is my understanding for the drinking water. Chemours definitely has the majority share, but they're not the only ones. We do have polluters upstream, and then we do have a massive, the world's largest munitions depot terminal is in Southport, and we think the PFAS contamination along the shorelines is coming from there.
Okay, and again, I think we can all agree that it's the polluters, not taxpayers or ratepayers, who should be paying for the mess that they created. And those taxpayers and ratepayers expect affordable, high-quality services that protect their health. I think that's an entirely reasonable thing for any American, whether they live in a red state, a blue state, a rural area, or an urban area like the one I represent. We should be able to pour a glass of water for our children, knowing that it will not harm their health. I don't think that's too much to ask for this government, this country in 2025. Thank you again, Ms. Donovan. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Point of clarification, there were no hearings scheduled for tomorrow because it was a getaway day, and the hearing we're having here today would
And
have
the
been the last of this
Epstein
committee.
files are released tomorrow as well, which I'm sure was part of the consideration.
I don't think that had anything to do with consideration. I think the consideration, in all fairness, was Christmas. All right.